These are the top moments when the quiet guy turned out to be the most dangerous in films and TV.
From this point on, I am a Gigante, and this is a new family now.
For most of her life, Sofia Falcone was treated as someone who could never truly lead the Falcone empire. She spent years locked away in Arkham while everyone else controlled the family business and decided her future for her. But, after returning, she quietly watches the people around her, learns who can be trusted, and waits for the right moment to act.
First, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. I gassed the family. I killed them all.
Her confrontation with Johnny Vitti is the moment I lost my mind, as she is no longer the same person they used to dismiss. Sofia kills him without hesitation and takes control of the family as if she's from the Corleone family instead.
Let's not be rash here. All right, these gentlemen know we got a score we need to settle.
It isn't a loud declaration or dramatic speech. It's a simple decision that completely turns the balance of power within Gotham's underworld.
If you join me, you will have a new family.
Hey, stop it to my car.
Mike Howell looks like the last person anyone would consider dangerous. He spends his day working at a convenience store, getting high, and struggling to figure out his life with his girlfriend Phoebe.
And we were really, really happy. And I wanted to make it forever, so I saved up for the perfect ring.
So when two professional assassins arrive to eliminate him, they expect a quick and easy job. What they don't know is that Mike was once part of a secret CIA program and his training is still buried deep in his mind. The second his survival instincts kick in, everything is different. He uses ordinary objects around him as weapons and eliminates both attackers before he fully understands what just happened himself. The most interesting part of the scene is that Mike is just as shocked by his own abilities as the people trying to kill him.
I just wanted to get you outside so I could ask you and your friends respectfully to leave the premises.
Oh, we'll leave. After I kill you.
When Dalton arrives at the Roadhouse, he doesn't act like a typical tough guy. He is calm, polite, and usually tries to avoid unnecessary fights. The locals view him as just another outsider who won't last long in a place controlled by violent criminals.
Well, the owner's having a little trouble, I guess, and I'm here to clean it up.
That kind of sounds like the plot to a Western.
That assumption doesn't survive very long. During his first major confrontation, several men decide to test him and quickly learn that Dalton knows exactly how to handle himself. He doesn't lose control or throw wild punches. He stays composed, reads every movement, and puts each attacker down with efficiency.
Life's not fair.
Oh, I just slapped you. Are you all right? What?
What makes the scene work is the contrast between Bro's personality and his ability to fight. He never tries to prove that he's dangerous. Everyone else learns that lesson the hard way.
Bomb.
Blood is blood, Peter. Remember that. No!
Throughout the season, Peter Pryor comes across as a quiet young officer who spends most of his time following orders and trying to please the people around him, especially his father, Hank. Because of this, nobody expects him to be the person who makes the hardest choice when everything falls apart. When Hank points his gun at Liz Danvers, Peter is forced into an impossible situation. He repeatedly begs his father to stop and gives him every opportunity to walk away.
Dad, we gotta get him out of here.
Fryer, think.
Come on, let's get him into my truck.
But when Hank refuses, Peter freaking shoots him to save Danvers. The scene isn't about Peter suddenly becoming a violent person. It is about a quiet, loyal son, proving that when the moment comes, he has the courage to do what nobody else could.
No. All clean.
No. No.
You gotta go.
You know your kind ain't welcome here.
Well, maybe not. But I'm gonna make myself welcome.
When the ghoul arrives in the town of Philly, he appears to be just another wasteland traveler looking for information and supplies. He talks casually, moves slowly, and doesn't seem interested in causing trouble. The people around him underestimate him because of his relaxed attitude and his appearance. That changes once a fight breaks out.
I've been paid a whole lot of caps to provide this man safe transport out of Philly.
The ghoul reveals that behind his calm personality is someone who can survive more than 2 centuries in one of the most dangerous places imaginable. His experience, accuracy, and complete lack of panic allow him to take down multiple people with ease. The scene immediately establishes why people in the wasteland fear his reputation, even if he doesn't look threatening at first. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and become a member for early access to our videos. Christian Wolf spends most of his life being underestimated because of his quiet personality and social difficulties. To the people around him, he's just an accountant who prefers numbers over conversation. That image falls apart the instant a team of trained killers enters his home. Christian doesn't panic, call for help, or make desperate mistakes. He immediately slips into the mindset of someone who has prepared for situations like this his entire life. He uses his training, planning, and precision to eliminate every threat with almost no wasted movement. The biggest surprise is not just how capable he is, but how naturally he transitions from an awkward man struggling through everyday interactions into someone who operates with complete control in a life or death situation.
You better
Rocky, Alex, and Money choose Norman's house because they believe he is the perfect victim, an elderly blind man living alone with a large amount of cash hidden inside.
Alex, if we do this right, we never have to do it again.
At first, their plan seems foolproof, but once they enter his house, the balance of power slowly shifts. Norman knows every corner of the house, understands exactly how to use his surroundings, and has years of military training behind him. The young thieves go from being hunters to prey as they realize that their target is far more dangerous than they imagined. What makes the scene unsettling is that Norman's disability never makes him weak. Instead, it forces his opponents to fight on terms that only he understands.
Get in the truck next time, you
Sorry, pal.
Patrick Hill joins the cash truck company as a quiet, almost emotionless employee who barely speaks and gives his co-workers little reason to pay attention to him. Even during his training, people question whether he belongs in such a dangerous job. Everything deviates during an armed robbery when the same man who struggled through simple conversations suddenly displays perfect composure under pressure. Without rushing or showing fear, Patrick takes down the attackers with a level of accuracy and confidence that shocks everyone watching. His co-workers spend the entire scene trying to understand who this new employee really is.
Dave, you just worry about putting your back in your own and leave this to me.
It is a perfect introduction to a character who hides his true identity behind an ordinary job and a deliberately forgettable personality.
I said suck my... Suck your own. You right, Dave? Did you make poo-poo?
What took you so long?
There's a couple of babies I had to put to sleep.
Shit, since all the baby just woke up.
Frank Martin is not the kind of person who starts arguments or looks for attention. He walks into the club with a simple objective and handles every interaction with the same calm attitude he carries throughout his life. The criminals inside underestimate him because he is alone and appears completely outnumbered. They quickly discover that Frank is a highly trained fighter who can turn any environment into an advantage.
Gina? I don't know if I trust this guy, Anna.
The fight is less about strength and more about timing, awareness, and efficiency as he deals with multiple opponents while keeping his focus on protecting the women he came to rescue. The contrast between his polite manner and his ability to dominate the room is what makes the moment memorable.
Stop the cop!
and cannolis or something?
Billy Costigan spends much of his undercover life trying to look like someone who belongs among criminals without revealing how much pressure he is under. During the confrontation at the convenience store, a sus customer repeatedly insults the owner and treats Billy like just another person who will stand by and watch.
See this guy? You see this guy? This guy don't want you to have the money because he wants to come back there and squash your head. And I don't want to see that happen.
I have one customer sitting here.
what I'm going to do.
Billy snaps and brutally attacks the man, showing a level of violence that catches everyone in the room off guard. The scene works because it reveals the dangerous side of a character who usually keeps his emotions buried. It is also a reminder that maintaining his undercover identity requires him to live with anger and aggression that can surface at any moment.
Get out of here!
He's dead. Get this shot. Steady hands. Use your zoom.
By this point in the film, Lou Bloom has already shown that his ambition has no limits. But this moment reveals just how cold he has become. After setting up the perfect crime scene for his news footage, he deliberately sends his assistant Rick to ward a wounded gunman while knowing exactly what could happen. Rick trusts him and follows his instructions, believing he is simply doing his job. The horrifying part is that Lou never loses his composure. He watches the situation unfold, captures the footage he wants, and later manipulates the story to protect himself. There are no threats, no angry outbursts, no grand villain speech, just a quiet man calmly sacrificing another person because it benefits his career, making it clear that his lack of emotion is his most dangerous trait. The men sent to kill Frank Moses expect an easy assignment. Their target is a retired old man living alone, spending his days talking to a customer service representative on the phone. They enter his house with every advantage imaginable, but Frank is already awake and waiting. Years of experience take over as he moves through his own home with a level of awareness they never expected. The attackers are heavily armed, yet they are the ones who become confused and exposed. Frank escapes, takes control of the situation, and leaves behind a destroyed house and several defeated agents. The entire sequence works because Frank never tries to prove he is dangerous. He simply reacts like a man who has survived countless situations much worse.
Where are you going, sweetheart?
How about a front kick, Johnny?
Johnny and the Cobra Kai students have spent the entire film seeing Mr. Miyagi as nothing more than an old handyman. When they corner Daniel and begin attacking him, Miyagi steps in with no anger and no attempt to intimidate anyone. The teenagers continue forward, completely unaware of who they are dealing with. Within seconds, he avoids their attacks, knocks them down, and leaves them helpless without seriously hurting any of them. The brilliance of the scene comes from the contrast between his gentle personality and his ability to fight. Miyagi doesn't enjoy humiliating the kids or showing off his skills. He simply protects Daniel, teaches everyone in the room a lesson, and then walks away as quietly as he arrived.
I got it.
Hutch has spent years letting people walk all over him. His family knows him as a boring middle-aged man stuck in a routine, and the criminals who enter the bus make the same mistake. They see a tired passenger trying to avoid trouble. Even when he tells them to leave, it sounds less like a threat and more like a final warning.
I'm gonna you up.
The fight that follows is not clean or effortless. Hutch gets hit, struggles, and takes plenty of damage, which actually makes the scene more believable. But every punch he throws comes from years of training that he has tried to leave behind. By the time the bus reaches its stop, everyone understands that the quiet man they mocked had been holding back something terrifying. Irene has only known the driver as a quiet neighbor who fixes cars, takes her son on rides, and rarely speaks more than a few sentences at a time. There is something mysterious about him, but nothing that prepares her for what happens in the elevator. The second he notices the man beside them is carrying a weapon, he understands that the threat has already arrived. He moves Irene behind him, shares a brief kiss with her, and almost treats it like a final goodbye before turning his attention to the assassin. What follows is not a stylish action moment, but a disturbing burst of brutality that keeps going long after the danger has passed. For Irene, the hardest part is not watching a man die, it is realizing she never truly knew the man standing beside her.
You told me you got the cripple in there from New York.
Yeah.
He mentioned Kaiser Sode.
Who?
After that, my guess is you'll never hear from him again.
For almost the entire film, Verbal Kint controls the room without anyone noticing. He sits across from Detective Kujan as a nervous, disabled, small-time con artist who seems terrified of the legendary criminal known as Kaiser Soze.
Turn state's evidence. You might never see trial.
Maybe so. But I'm not a rat, Agent Kujan.
His story paints him as the only survivor of an impossible situation, a man who simply got caught between dangerous people. The truth only begins to appear after he leaves the police station. Kujan looks around his office and realizes that names, places, and details from Verbal's story were taken from random objects around the room.
What about Redfoot? Mr. Redfoot knew nothing. Using pawns.
Big, fat guy. I mean, like orca fat.
By the time he understands what happened, Verbal is already gone. The limp disappears, his posture changes, and the harmless man who struggled to light a cigarette walks away as one of cinema's most feared criminals.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And like that, he's gone.
Is this how you killed Bourne? Coward's way.
The men sent to kill James Reese chose the perfect place for an assassination. He is heavily medicated, emotionally broken after losing his entire team, and lying alone in a hospital bed, while everyone believes he is suffering from severe trauma. The attacker enters his room, expecting a wounded soldier who can barely understand what is happening around him. Reese notices the danger almost immediately. Despite his condition, years of SEAL training take over, and he turns a helpless situation into a fight for survival. There is nothing ostentatious about the confrontation. It is desperate, brutal, and painfully close. The man who looked like he needed protection becomes the biggest threat in the room, and his enemy realizes that too late.
What's he saying?
The outlaws spend a lot of time looking past Henry as a simple farmer living quietly with his son in the middle of nowhere. They talk down to him, threaten him, and believe their numbers are enough to make him surrender. Even Henry's son has only heard stories about his father's past and has never truly seen what he is capable of.
Here we are. He's who?
Bonnie. Oh, what is he talking about?
When the final gunfight begins, the old farmer disappears and a completely different man takes his place. Henry moves with the confidence and speed of someone who has survived countless shootouts before.
Él no me preocupa.
¡Joder, chingada!
Every bullet has a purpose, every movement is calculated, and the gang slowly understands that they are not fighting a farmer at all. They are facing a legend they never recognized.
He got gold! Thank you!
The Nazis see Atami as an old prospector walking through the wilderness with a horse and a bag full of gold. They take his possessions, wrong his horse, and assume the problem has been solved. Their mistake is judging him by his age and his silence.
Get down on your knees.
These bags are full of gold!
Get down on your knees, Grandpa!
Atami does not argue, beg, or make threats. He simply starts coming after them. The soldiers discover that he is a former Finnish commando whose reputation is so terrifying that even the Nazis have heard stories about him. He survives impossible situations, uses anything around him as a weapon, and keeps moving no matter how much punishment he takes. The more they try to kill him, the more they realize they have started a war they cannot win.
Yo, homie. Is that my briefcase?
Your briefcase? Yeah, it is. Why, you want it back? How about your wallet?
Max has gone the night driving Vincent around Los Angeles and perceives him as a polite businessman who happens to be a little strange. That illusion ends in a dark alley when two muggers approach them and try to steal Vincent's briefcase. The thieves think they have found an easy target, a man in a grey suit carrying expensive belongings. Vincent does not raise his voice, negotiate, or show fear. In a matter of seconds, he draws his weapon and kills both attackers with absolute precision. The entire encounter is over before Max can even process what happened. It is the first time he understands that the quiet passenger sitting behind him is not a businessman at all, but a professional killer who treats violence like another part of his routine.
Killed just about everything that walks or crawled at one time or another. I'm here to kill you, little Bill, for what you did to Ned.
The people inside the saloon know William Money by reputation, but many of them no longer believe the stories. By this point, he is just an old farmer outlaw who drinks too much, struggles to stay on his horse, and seems like a shadow of the man that he used to be. That illusion disappears the second he walks into the saloon after learning that Ned Logan was tortured to death. Money does not rush in like a reckless gunslinger looking for revenge. He calmly takes control of the room, shoots Skinny Dubois for allowing Ned's body to be displayed outside, and then turns his attention to Little Bill and the others. Even after being outnumbered, he remains composed and deadly. The men who mocked his reputation finally understand why his name was once spoken with fear.
Yes, sir. I got it under control.
Anton Chigurh's first victim in the film makes the mistake of treating him like a normal criminal. The deputy arrests him without resistance and keeps him in the sheriff's office while he goes about his routine. Anton sits silently behind him, almost appearing patient. Then, the instant the opportunity presents itself, he slips behind the deputy and wraps the chains of his handcuffs around his neck. The fight is long, exhausting, and frighteningly corporeal, with Anton refusing to stop even as he adjusts to maintain his grip. After the deputy dies, Anton calmly stands up, catches his breath, and examines his injuries before leaving the station. There is nothing dramatic about the moment. It simply establishes that the quiet man sitting in custody was always the most dangerous person in the room. When Jason Bourne enters the American embassy in Zurich, he is cold, injured, and desperate for answers. The officials initially see him as a confused stranger who needs assistance, but the situation changes once his fingerprints reveal his connection to the CIA. Security officers move in, believing they're dealing with a frightened civilian who can be contained easily. What follows surprises everybody, including Bourne himself. He notices escape routes, predicts the movements of trained agents, and uses combat techniques that he does not even remember learning. The scene is not about Bourne showing off. In fact, he looks disturbed by his own abilities. Every successful move creates another question about his identity. The people chasing him are terrified because they realize they are hunting someone whose instincts are more dangerous than their training. Harry D'Souza spends most of his time solving problems with conversations, negotiations, and quiet intimidation. Because of that, many people consider him as the man who arranges violence, rather than the man who carries it out himself. That idea disappears when he tracks Serafina to the Moroccan hideout. Harry enters enemy territory alone, carrying nothing but a bag containing weapons and tools. Once he realizes there is no peaceful way to get her back, he begins systematically taking apart the entire operation. He uses guns, knives, and anything available around him while moving through the building with frightening patience. The scene is especially shocking because Harry never changes his personality. The same calm man who speaks politely at family meetings becomes just as calm while eliminating everyone standing in his way. John Wick has already stepped back into the criminal world by this point, but the men breaking into Bro's house believe they have caught a retired assassin at his weakest. They attack him in the middle of the night and almost manage to get the jump on him, but years of instinct take over instantly. Despite being outnumbered and caught off guard, John fights back with ruthless efficiency. Killing the intruders one by one and proving that even at his most vulnerable, he is still one of the deadliest men alive. There is no panic or wasted motion. He moves through the house with the precision of someone who has spent his entire life surviving situations exactly like this. The attackers never get a chance to understand what went wrong. The man they came to eliminate had been waiting for them all along, and the mission becomes a massacre in his favor. Hope you liked the video, so please subscribe to the TV Regent and become a member for early access to new videos.